Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, you're having a great week. Hopefully, you had a good weekend. It's another Wednesday, so we all know what that means. We get to hear about my trials and tribulations with golf equipment. No, just wanted to, had a great weekend, and actually, whole last week playing golf. Played a ton of golf, and had an absolute blast. So I got some things to talk about with there because went through a couple club changes and all that, but had a bunch of fun. But before we get into it, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf balls. So the Pro V1, Pro V1X, I don't really know what I really need to say about them. It's the number one ball in golf. It has been the number one ball in golf for a long time. It is basically the bar that everyone is striving to reach. But the new 2021 Pro V1, Pro V1X, redesigned from the core up, but faster casing layers, new softer urethane covers, basically new dual core in the Pro V1X, and a reformulated core in the Pro V1. But if you're looking for a Pro V1 that fits you best, Pro V1 flies a little lower, feels a little softer, spins a little less. Pro V1X flies higher, has a little firmer feel, and has a little more spin. So go to Titleist.com, check out the Pro V1, Pro V1X, see which ball fits your game the best. And it's basically what I played all weekend. I played Pro V1. So check them out for yourself and try the new 2021 Pro V1 or Pro V1X. But yeah, it was that's what I was playing pretty much all weekend. I was playing Pro V1. But yeah, I went for those of you who remember, I got invited to play at an Invitational at Dearborn Country Club with one of my good friends, and it was awesome that he invited me. I had never played in anything like it before, and it was an absolute blast. So had a lot of fun. It was a 4-day thing. It started on Wednesday, ended on Saturday, and it was just, it went by way too fast. It really did, but a lot of golf, a lot of fun, just, hanging out with some, bunch of guys. And it was just, like I said, a great time. Everybody was super friendly. Everybody was really fun. It was competition. You played to win, you're trying to win a flight or win, the overall thing. And it was, it was a competition, but it wasn't like, it was a competition, but people were going to help you look for a golf ball. If you hit it over into the trees, you would go help somebody look for their ball. They would come over, help you look for yours, whatever. It wasn't like cutthroat, screw you, watching for 3 minutes and, you didn't find it. Like, let's go. It was, there was a lot of, a lot of great sportsmanship in there, and it was a lot of fun. So, it was very interesting. Played some, different, or kind of a different format that I'd never really, on the format, I guess. It was just like I've never played in front of people before. So you basically had a flight and you played 9-hole matches against, another 2-man team. So it was 2-man best ball match play. And you had 9-hole matches. So for 9 holes, you played another team and, best ball with handicaps and all that. So it was pretty fun. It was interesting. We had a lot of close matches that were pretty tight or back and forth, or you basically either tied or won by 1 point. But we won our flight, which we did get a nice trophy here, which I'll if you're one of those people watching on YouTube, I'll set up here in the old desk. We had a nice piece of crystal there for winning our flight. We were the 6th flights. We were dead in between, or right in between. There were 12 total flights. We won ours in the 6th. Everybody who won went to a shootout, which was a 4-hole shootout, and you played true alternate shot, and they eliminated 3 teams on each hole. So the teams got eliminated by one of 2 ways. Either you shot worse, so if a couple teams made birdie, a couple teams made par, a couple teams made bogey, the bogey teams left or whatever. So the first hole, I think we got a stroke because, you go from players who are scratched to plus handicaps, down to the 12th. So I think we got a stroke. We didn't, my partner hit probably the best drive of his week on that hole, right down the middle. I had 107. I was debating between 2 wedges. I went gap wedge because I thought I was debating between gap wedge, full gap wedge, or like a 3/4 pitching wedge. And I went with the gap wedge because I figured, the adrenaline was flowing. There's literally 35, 40 carts up on the green, everybody watching. Everybody who didn't qualify for the thing, for the shootout, was watching. And it was just a very interesting feeling to be down there while all these people were watching. And, not that people were giving you a hard time, but if you didn't hit a good shot, I mean, you could hear some groans from the crowd. But I don't play in front of crowds, so it was very interesting to have that feeling. But I caught my way. I went with gap wedge, figuring I was a little pumped up, but I'd hit it farther, and I caught it just a touch fat, and I put it in the bunker. So my partner had to hit a bunker shot after hitting an amazing drive. But we got out. We made bogey, and then had to go to the shootout because there was one team that basically made a double for bogey, and they were eliminated. And then there were like 6 of us who made basically pars, net pars. Well, either made par or net par, whatever. I think there were 5 teams, so we had to eliminate 2. So you go to a chip off, and I am not the greatest. My short game is not amazing. I don't chip well, but my partner does. He's a great chipper. But unfortunately, with alternate shots, since he tapped in the putt, I had the putt. I just missed it. He tapped it in. I had to hit the shot, and it was basically like a 25-yarder. It was the green kind of slightly elevated, and they dropped the ball back. They put a tee down back in the fairway, so you had to hit up onto the hill. And it wasn't the easiest of shots. I had to go second. The first guy went up, hit, and everybody else who wasn't hitting had to turn their backs, so they couldn't watch like the break of the ball or anything like that. And the first guy hit. We unfortunately hear him say something like "nope," and I was like, "Okay, well," but you don't know what that means. If he's a good player, I mean, that could mean he hit it to 10 feet and he thought he was going to hit it to 4. I walked up, hit a great shot to 4 feet, which ended up being the closest. A bunch of other people hit. We move on to the second hole. And then it was just kind of a multiple of errors from both me and my partners. So we got knocked out in the second hole, but it was really, it was fun. It was pretty cool, and we had a good time. It was really fun. So we had a bunch of cool things on Wednesday night. It was a practice round, and there was a bunch of stuff. The putting contest. They had a putting contest where we went over the putting green. You had to make a 30-foot putt, and it kind of broke. It was a downhiller, went right to left, and you paid a couple bucks. You got in. I think you got 3 putts for whatever it was, and the first guy walks up, and I don't know how many times he went, but he missed every one of them. A second guy got up, he missed. My partner gets up, first ball drains it. I was like, okay, so I walk up next side. My first ball, I leave it just a touch short, but it was the right line. Hit the second one on the right line, drain it. So we're both in the final. There ended up being 9 guys in the putting contest final, which then was moved over to the 18th green instead of the putting green, the 18th green, where everybody's up on the patio, hanging out, eating, having a few cocktails, whatever. And then the putting contest is there. So the first putt is I think a 20-footer. I think it was something like 21 feet. I don't think they really measured it. They just kind of walked it off, put a tee in the ground. So my partner is the first. It goes in order of who made it on the practice green. Is the order which you go in the finals. So my partner gets up, and it's again a right to left breaker, a little more severe than the last one, and not quite as much downhill. He walks up, drains it. First guy up, nails it. I walk up right behind him because I'm the next guy called. I make it. I mean, so the crowd's kind of like, what the hell's going on? And it ended up being, I think 5 of us made it, or 5 or something like that made it out of the 9. And then we had another putt they put where you had to kind of go over and kind of up and down over a hill, and then it broke to the right. And it was a putt that nobody made. I think we went through four different rounds of the 5 guys that were there, and none of us made it. I mean, a bunch of them burned the edge. I mean, the stuff you thought was close, nobody made it. So we moved to a shorter putt, and one guy made it, and the rest of us just, I burned the edge. I didn't trust the read. It broke just a hair right, and I didn't give it quite enough. I played it basically dead center when I should have played it left center. And if I would have played it left center, I probably would have made it. But it rolled right over the edge. I missed. I was out, and a guy won. So it was fun. Made it to the finals. Like I said, guys were kind of down around the green up on the patio, and I left one. I left one of them, the first one, I left way short, and man, I just got hounded over that one. It was pretty funny. So, but it was a good time. Like I said, we won our flight. We made it halfway. We got knocked out on the second hole of the shootout, but it was a good time. And then we, joined the groups of carts up on the greens, watching the rest of the shootout. And some of those guys just hit some absolutely amazing shots under pressure. And I've realized I am maybe not the world's greatest pressure player. I don't necessarily play a lot under pressure, not like that anyway. And I don't think I'm the world's greatest pressure player. I didn't come up with my best stuff in those situations, but still had an absolute blast. Like I said, we just had a whole lot of fun, and we played. I wouldn't say we played amazing. My partner played extremely steady golf all week. I mean, he played solid golf, steady all week. I was kind of up and down. I had a couple good scores. I came in with 39s and 41s, but it didn't feel that good. But I had a few holes where I hit some just amazing shots. But I also had some holes where I had one hole where there was a par 3. I hit it to a foot. So I made birdie, hit it to a foot, made birdie. Everybody else hit it to the left, which is like a death sentence because the green slopes away from you there. And one of the other guys on the other team, his first guy went, his ball, hit the fringe, but still released out to like the other side of the green. His partner walks up, hit a flop shot, I think it was like 2 bounces, went in. And it was just like, oh man, like we were basically marking down the point. You hit it to a foot. And but that was kind of how match play went. There was, you get guys chipping in on you, things like that, and all of a sudden, matches get real close or get away from you. But it was, like I said, a lot of fun. So if you saw on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod, I posted a little photo of my crystal trophy. But it is, like I said, we did pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with that. The bag stayed. Pretty much, it stayed the same majority of the day. The only club that I really kind of was really searching on was driver. I hit everything else pretty darn well or well enough. But driver was one where I started out with the Ping G425 Max, which is what I started out with. And I was playing a 10-5 head set, 1 degree down and 1 degree flat. So it was basically playing 9-5 flat. And I can do that with Club Connects. I don't know if the Ping adapter allows that, but it's what I started out with, the rear weight and the fade position. And I started out with this, and I tell you what, I hit some shots, stupid long, absolutely stupid long, way longer than I expected it to be. I hit some shots to places which, I mean, I've only played Dearborn Country Club probably a dozen times, maybe a little more. Not, I don't play it every day, but I hit some shots of this thing, that combo, that I've to spots that I've never been before, that to distances into greens that I've never had. But that 425 Max with the Ventus Black was just stupid good if I could stop it from going left. It just always had a draw to it. And some of those holes there, a draw's a great shot, but there's some holes there where you kind of need to hit a fade, or you need to hit it straight at least, to really kind of save yourself from a lot of trouble, or have a less a less risky line. And I just couldn't I couldn't get the thing to go, straight or right. But God, I was hitting into the center a lot, and I was hitting it a long, long way. There was, I can't remember what hole it was. I think it was 17. I hit a shot down there, which 17 is a pretty wide driving hole. You don't want to be right, really, just because there's a big bunker over there, and then the trees over there is kind of heavy. But I ripped one down the left side, and I think I was 30 yards ahead of everybody. I think I had like 156 in or something like that. I had 167 because it was into the wind. I had 167. Everybody else had, like I said, at least 190. Everybody else had a hybrid or a long iron. I had 167 into a, kind of a back pin into the wind, and I hit, of course, the most career 5-iron I've ever hit, and it went over the green, and we actually never found the ball. Thankfully, that was an evening extra 9, but never found the ball, so that kind of stunk. But like I said, this thing, I hit it extremely well. The head is extremely forgiving. When you hit it low heel, you hit it, a little off the toe, whatever, it does stay on line. Your shot shape doesn't change an absolute ton when you miss it. But like I said, the downside for me is that I already draw it. I kind of come over the top. My path is from outside to in. and typically the face is shut, so I've always hit this, I hit it left, and I just could not stop it from going left, and I basically each day would bring a new driver to the range in the morning and kind of hit some different stuff and just see, and then the final day I finally did make a switch. But this thing here, like I said, I really want to put that Ventus Black in, excuse me, a higher lofted LST head. I think with a 10.5 LST head with that Ventus Black, again, if it's anything like the G425 Max, could be just an absolutely crazy long combination. The other option I'm thinking about is getting a lighter rear weight and then maybe putting, a decent amount of hot melt into the toe. I mean, I know that's going to take away some of the stability, some of the forgiveness, but it's just that it's a heavy head already, and there's not a whole lot I can do, without getting a lighter weight. There's not a whole lot you can do to it. And the Ventus Black was just a great option because it's slightly counterbalanced. But like I said, it ended up being an absolute kind of monster in this thing. It was, like I said, I hit some shots that were just unbelievably long. But by the end of the week, it was just, I started going left to the point where I was really putting myself into some bad spots and having to play basically punch outs, after the tee. And I just needed something that would get in the fairway. So I ended up taking a bunch of clubs to the range, or a handful of clubs to the range each morning. And the funny thing is, I'd bring a bunch of clubs. Like I'd bring some, another utility iron. I'd bring some other stuff, and pretty much I'd keep what was in the bag. I'd go to the range and start swinging stuff, and side by side, I was hitting what I brought kind of better. But one of the clubs that I thought actually would be a great option, just because I was hitting it so far left, but I was hitting it pretty good off the tee. I mean, I wasn't missing it a ton. So I brought out the old TSI 3, because I figured, little more neutral ball flight. I've got, again, the weight kind of slightly over to the toe, and, just a more neutral driver. So I brought that out. That was kind of my first foray into, like, let's try something different. Brought that out, and I had a Ventus Red in it, just because it's a 9-degree head. I think it's 9 or 9 to 5, 9-degree head, and I don't hit a super high ball. So I brought this out with a Ventus Red, something to launch a little higher, and I hit it really well, and I definitely hit it straighter, but it was substantially shorter. And part of it is I just couldn't hit it high enough. Like the TSI 3, really love the head. I just need a 10.5 head. If the 9-degree head just doesn't work, it just doesn't launch high enough. I need a 10.5 head in that, and then I think I probably would have switched that day, just because I think the 10.5 head with, say, like Ventus Red or whatever, it would have launched as high as the 425 Max, and I think distance-wise they would have been really, really similar. So the TSI 3, which did provide a much straighter ball flight for me, I just couldn't get it high enough in the air. So which I think is the problem I've had with the past couple of Titleist heads. I've just had like 9-degree heads or 8.5-degree heads or really low lofted heads, and I just don't hit them high enough. But like I said, the sound of it, the feel of it, everything's great. But even in, with just the more fade setting on it, it definitely didn't go left near as much as the 425 Max. It just came out low. And then when when it's hitting on the range, even after it hit and rolled, I wasn't hitting it near as far. I mean, I was probably 15 yards shorter than the 425 Max, just because I didn't have enough launch on it to get it going. So if I can get my hands on a 10.5 head, I can probably pull something off there. But right now with the 9-degree head, the TSI 3 is probably going to be a shell for me. I mean, I guess unless I find some super high launching shaft that I could hit in it that would get the ball up in the air. But again, you're trying to manipulate something that, something else in a sense worked a little better. But, like I said, the TSI 3 was great. It's actually, a definitely more forgiving head than it looks like it should be. But, and like I said, much more neutral. I mean, I had basically maybe a baby draw at a straight ball flight with that, where the G425 Max, I was just hitting it, like I said, left and drawing left. And then what I finally actually put in play the last day on Saturday, I actually put it in play. I actually went to the old Sim 2 Max head. So I brought that on Saturday, and that was the one that I ended up hitting really, really well on the range. That was it was basically a 10.5 Sim Max 2 head, or Sim 2 Max head with a Tensei Pro White 1K was the combo I had there. I really want to put the Ventus Black in this thing too, just because my Tensei, the 1K is a 60 TX, and it's a little stout. And this camera was just a touch shorter than the 425 Max. I mean, there was a flag out on the range, and I could hit it over the green that flag was on with the 425 Max, and with the Sim 2 Max, I was hitting it basically on top of the green and bouncing over. So I was a couple yards shorter with the Sim 2 Max, but again, much straighter, way less left to it. Just a more neutral ball flight on that compared to the 425 Max. And like I said, the 1K is a 60 TX, which is, I don't bring it hard enough for that. But the other thing is I wanted to put the Ventus Black in here, but the Ventus Black, again, slightly counterbalanced. My TaylorMade head is super lightweight, so I need to find, I need to hot melt it, really. I mean, I need to hot melt it, because the rear weight is the 24 gram weight. They don't make, even an aftermarket that I've seen, I've looked around, I don't see a heavier weight for it. Like, I really would want like a 28 gram weight for that thing, and it just doesn't exist. So I need to throw some hot melt in there, and then I should be able to put, a couple more shafts in it. But it's just a light head. But that 1K seems to be very tip heavy, and it works well in this head. So I took that out, and I hit it really well. I mean, I did. I hit a bunch of fairways on Saturday. I just hit it really well. Excuse me. And like I said, it wasn't quite the longest. I wasn't in spots I'd never been before. But I did hit it really well, and it was a little more consistent in terms of where I was on the course. So I played that Saturday. I would have played it into the shootout, but we got eliminated before I could hit a drive, which probably isn't a bad thing, because with the nerves going, who knows if I would have got anything anywhere close to the fairway, or even in play. But yeah, I ended up going with the Sim 2 Max, on Saturday, and I probably should have. I shouldn't say it, but I should have probably made the switch a day earlier or so, but it was, like I said, I tried these ones. I brought the Mizuno, the STZ, because I think I hit that really well. But on the range, I didn't hit it well at all. I just couldn't find the center of the face for whatever reason. I hit it well in my league a couple weeks ago, but last week I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't find the face. I was hitting everything low heel, a couple shots off the toe, but mostly everything low heel. The swing wasn't there, and I just wasn't getting a good enough swing with that. And that had that GP7 in it as well, the GP7X from Graphite Design, but it just wasn't meant to be that week for that thing. So, like I said, each morning I'd be the one out there with a couple different drivers. I also messed around with my utility iron, which is also my 4-iron. So I had the new level in the bag, and I really like the new level NLU-01. I'm a big fan of that thing. I think it feels good. It's got a good kind of click to it at impact. It's fairly soft. And I was I was hitting that decent, but I wasn't hitting it very high. So when I did have shots and I needed to use it, I couldn't. Getting it to stop on such firm, fast greens was tough. So I brought back out the Srixon ZX utility that I have, and that definitely launches higher, but it doesn't go near as far. And I found that the gapping, it was kind of falling in line with my 5-iron. So, it definitely launched higher, it landed softer, but I just didn't have enough, I just didn't hit it far enough to make it work. Like I said, it was just coming too close to my 5-iron, and the gapping wasn't right. So I went back to the new level. I hit a couple really good shots with that. The one of them was, I think it was on 17 again. I hit it over kind of the right. I was just in like the first cut, and I had, I want to say like 180 something a little into the wind. So I basically hit that thing, and I think I wanted to kind of play a cut around this tree, because there's a big tree that kind of protects the right side of the green, and the pin was on the right, and I was able to kind of hit that new level basically over the tree onto the green, and it just bounced into the hill behind. I was just over, so I had a little chip, which I chipped it till almost nothing, made the putt, and I ended up making par there. But I hit a few good shots at that new level. I need something that goes just maybe just a touch higher. So I hate to admit it, I may look towards hybrid there again. I played a 4 hybrid for a while years ago, and then I hit a 4-iron, and I hit it really well, and now I'm back to kind of struggling with the 4-iron, the utility iron. So I'm gonna I'm gonna try my U500 again, the Titleist U500 with a Modus 105, because the Modus 105 for me launches really high, so I think that could be a good combination there. I'm gonna try that, and then if not, I may go try the 4 hybrid again. So it's I I guess it's one of those things where I mean I shouldn't feel like defeated, but I do a little bit. But I need something that especially like there where it's like it was extremely firm, extremely fast. Um, you need something that kind of launches high that you can get it to stop on the green. And like I said, at the top end of my bag, there wasn't much that was stopping on those greens. So, but it was like I said, those are kind of my changes there. I put it with the Bettinardi, the BB8W, pretty much all week, and then Saturday morning I switched over to the Toulon, just because I felt like I started to kind of get yippy, and the right hand was kind of influencing the shot, and I was missing a lot of putts left. So I switched over to the Toulon, and I think I putted pretty well with it, but I didn't make any putts of significance with it. But for the most part, that the Fuji MC Firm with the Bettinardi BB8 W, I putted really well with that all week. I think I made a couple big putts on Thursday. I think I made a pretty long putt on 18 to win that hole, and then I also made another long putt. I think on Friday with it, but I made some putts with it. It wasn't, overall. The problem with it was just like those like 3 or 4 footers that you need for par that guys aren't giving you out there, and I just kind of like yipped a couple of them left, and it was just that right hand influence in the shot. So that was what made me. I was debating when to switch, when to try something new, just to try it. And then on Saturday, I was like, heck, let's just put it in the bag and see what happens. So I put it with it on the putting green. Everything seemed to be going well. So I said, all right, let's just go. So yes, I was the one guy in the locker room whose locker actually had a bunch of clubs in it, because I was just switching stuff in and out basically all week. I would basically roll down to the range, have a bunch of clubs, and then drive up to the range or drive up to the locker room, throw whatever I'm not using in the locker, and then head to the course with the 14 clubs. So it ended up working out all right. But again, we had a great time. Like I said, I think I think the G425 Max may be slightly retired. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into the weight stuff. The TSI 3, I don't know. It's probably shelled just because I don't think that 9-degree head I can hit it high enough. And Sim 2 Max may be the starter, but I was outside of my net yesterday evening, hitting a few balls, waiting for a buddy to get here to fix a wedge for him, and I was hitting the Epic Max LS pretty well into the net. And I was hitting it pretty decent on. I had the Mevo Plus out there, and I was hitting it pretty decent compared to the Sim 2 Max. So I don't know. We'll see. Those two are going to be kind of the two that will battle it out a little bit. Again, the only downside is that with the Club Connect system, for whatever reason, that Callaway Epic Max LS, if you put it in the neutral setting, just put it set in neutral setting, the face looks like it shuts like 2 degrees. So I have to play it like lowered, from a 10.5 down to a 9.5 head to make it look square. And I don't love that I have to take the loft down, because I'm worried I'm not going to hit it high enough. But we'll see. I'm gonna slap Aventus Red in there and see what happens. But like I said, overall, it was a fun week, and like I said, won some hardware, had some good meals, and no, I didn't have a ton of beverages like I think probably people think I would. I pretty much stuck to the old Gatorade and water for most of the week, so it was a very well reserved week for me. But it was fun. It was a good time. So I don't have a whole lot review wise right now. I just got in a brand new hybrid, which I'll be taking out tomorrow. I've got a brand new laser rangefinder to take out tomorrow. I've got a handful of stuff to take out tomorrow, which, let's just hope the weather holds up. I know that this week here is, every time I check my phone, it seems like the rain is either coming or going or whatever. So I'm hoping it's going. I hope I get out and play tomorrow. But I've got a couple things to test there. And I've still got the VA Composites Raisin. And I know I've got the Badass shafts as well that I still need to glue up. It's still sitting on my wall. I meant to glue it up yesterday, but I went out and hit balls into my net instead. So I didn't quite get that done. Hopefully I'll do it today, if I get some time here. So, but yeah, that's all I got today. Kind of a short episode, but like I said, I was pretty much all week playing, and I didn't really have a lot of time to, like, quote unquote test anything. It was pretty much game time all the time. So again, I want to thank my buddy for inviting me. I had an absolute blast. And if you guys have any questions, have any comments, anything like that, hit me up on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. And either send me a DM, comment on something, whatever. I try to look at that stuff as much as I can. So yeah, that's all I got this week. Hopefully, like I said, you guys had a good one, and hopefully you got some golf lined up. I will be playing this weekend as well, down at Old Bella Vista. So I will be down there teeing it up as well. So again, doing a little testing of some clubs. But anyway, hope you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.